Perfect. So a little bit about us. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Wonderful, thank you very much. So who is All Women? We're a tech academy, as I was telling you. We started 2 years ago with our big program in data science. And from that, we've grown, and now we're offering product management, UX, UI design. And actually, since last week, we're also offering web development. And it's a community, and it's kind of like a safe space because it's, there's some training that it's made specifically for women. And it's also led by experts, female experts within the field. So, all of our programs where you're going to find it's female tech professionals that they're already in the field. So even all of our content, we are constantly revising it because what we want is that everything is very updated and very hands-on with what's going on in tech currently. Perfect. Also, just for you to know, we're a growing community since March this year. With the whole coronavirus, we went remote. It is something that it was going to eventually happen in 3 years, maybe, but we, like the whole pandemic, obviously rushed things. So we went global and we went remote since March. So all of our courses are happening on campus and also remotely. And the way that it works is that we stream our classes. So there, if you're connected and if you're in class, it is actually happening in Barcelona, but you can connect from wherever. And it's been beautiful to see how this community keeps growing. And now we have people from all over Europe, but even from all over the world. We've had, mainly we have people from Berlin, London, Lisbon, but also we have people from India as well. We had a lady that she came from Nigeria. So it's beautiful to see how our community is growing diverse and from all over. Perfect. And just for you to have some numbers, this community that I'm talking about, we're talking about more than 15K people. We're really regular in terms of events. We have a newsletter every week. We're publishing about current tech events and also related to gender. Obviously, events that they're relevant and important to our community, to women. Yeah, and we have a lot of participation, a lot of interest, which is always great. And yeah, we've trained more than 150 students, which is amazing to think about. And also, not only our community is growing, but also the companies that they also want to bring a little something to, and by helping either with some sort of partnerships or in our hiring events. So it's great to see how many communities and also how many companies, they also want to form alliances with us. Awesome. So now to the good part. Let's start our data analytics masterclass. And to start with, I wanted to know a little bit, does anybody know how to code? If so, which languages? I was kind of curious. We're going to be using our side chat for questions and complementary information. So you can type in there. Any coders in this session? I see some people nodding their heads. No?
HTML, C++, no, nothing? It's
Nothing.
fine, no, it's fine. This is aimed to show you the capabilities that are behind or the logic, but it doesn't matter, eh? Nobody.
That's even better. So you're all newbies. So let's pop your cherries. No worries. So you're gonna have your first line of code. So let me share with you.
Somebody's learning Python, Marta.
Somebody's learning Python?
Yes.
Amazing. Great. Then this is gonna be a next step to see everything that you can do with Python, which is absolutely amazing. Perfect. So we created a Google notebook that it's with Collab. Perfect. I'm gonna share the link in our chat. And the idea is that you make a copy in your Google Drive. since it's working with a server and it's not very powerful when you're doing it through Google Colab, it's important that, first of all, you make a copy. Okay, Google Analytics. Perfect. Yeah. Everything counts.
Of course. One thing is that, well, just you don't have to install anything. So no new programs, no new software, blah, blah, blah. We are going to, Marta is going to show you how to perform this data analytics task, let's say, but in line. So you don't have to download anything, etc. You just need your Gmail account together with Google Drive, because we are going to use one platform that it's called Google Colab, in which it allows you to execute Python code, but using Google's servers, okay? So the good thing about this is that, okay, super fine, because I don't need to install anything, but the bad thing is that Google has access to the files that you are sharing, because you are giving access to him. Well, him or her, I don't know if Google is. Okay, so that's, watch out if you are planning to do something, I don't know, after the course, after this masterclass, watch out, because if it's this information, it's private or confidential, etc., Google has access to it, okay? Just, this is the drawback.
Yes, and once you've made your own copy, you can make all the notes that you want. So you can even keep track of the class and everything with your own personal notes with you, all right? Okay, just so I have a general idea on which stage you are. If you can write on the chat, okay, I'm good to go, then I'll start sharing my screen. Awesome. Right. Perfect.
So I think that almost everybody is done, Marta.
Wonderful. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. If anybody has a problem, Idoia is here also to assist you, so don't hesitate to let us know. And yeah, thank you for mentioning where you're from and saying a little bit of hi. Awesome. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to be presenting my version. Can you see my screen with the code?
Yes.
Perfect. So again, welcome to your first Data Analytics Masterclass. All right, so we're going to start with the beginning. So every time you start any sort of training in coding, there's this like famous line, hello world, which is basically first printing your first message. So here you have an example, and I wanted you to experience the first feeling that you have when you're coding, which is this sort of creational, like you just delivered the baby. Then I led you this second line in print over here, so you can write your own message. All right, so you're gonna go ahead and write whatever you want. Perfect, and then just hit print. So you just need to click this symbol over here. All right, and now you can say that you've already coded your first, you've written your first line of code. Yes, success from now on? Okay.
How are you feeling? How are you feeling up there?
Yes, I see some thumbs up. Awesome. Thank you. Wonderful. Perfect. So this is going to be like your first line of code. And then, all right. So a little bit how we've organized this masterclass. We have 1 hour. So let's see what we can do with 1 hour. But first of all, I wanted to give you an idea of, okay, so when you're in data science and you're analyzing data, what is the process? What is the method, right? So first, I wanted to give you an introduction of how it works, and then we're going to go straight to our study case. So I wanted to present you the data scientific method. And basically, it consists of these different pillars. The very first thing that you need to do is identify. So it's important that you know what's the issue or the question that you want to tackle. All right. Then the second step, it will be understanding it and obviously asking the right questions. It's super important that you're always asking a lot of questions. That's one of like lesson number one when you become like a data scientist, is ask many questions, not only to understand what's happening there, but also so you can find what's the most efficient way to tackle the issue, right? Then there's the whole process, and in all the process, the one of the most important tasks is to clean. You're going to see that 90% of the things that you're doing when you're dealing with data is clean the data set. The data set never comes nice and clean like I'm going to show you right now. It's always messy. There's missing values, there's things
Typing
that
mistakes, no? Typing mistakes.
exactly, human mistakes. It's super important to do this part of process and cleaning. Then afterwards, you're going to be needing to analyze these results. And actually, there's a lot of iteration between process and analyze. So you process the information, you analyze it, and then, okay, I need to go back and do some modifications because this and this and that. So there's a lot of iteration between these two. And it's really normal. And it takes a while before you can say, okay, I'm done. We are finished. We're finished here. But once you do, then also super important is that you develop your communication skills, because you'll have to communicate your results, right? So there's a lot of hard skills over here as well. But obviously, the soft skill of like knowing how to communicate results, it's as important as the whole process, because you can be very good at coding, but if you don't know how to communicate your results and engage with your audience or your client, then what's the point? I've seen that in our group, we also have some marketers, and I'm sure that you're nodding your heads. Perfect. I also led you like a full article about the data scientific method in case you were interested in that. All right, so far so good. Small request. Is it possible to have the Google Colab translated in English?
Well, in any case, it doesn't matter, because the only thing that it will be kind of different, it will be just like the header, let's say. So the file, edit, see, insert, and so on, all the notebook and all the comments are in English. So the only thing that it will be different, it will be what's like above all woman data analytics masterclass. So it's just like the menu, and we are not going to use those capabilities. The only thing that you have to take into account is that there are two boxes, one which says plus código, which means plus code, and on the right side is plus texto, which means plus text, so markdowns. Okay, so don't worry about having everything in English. Okay, because in English or Spanish, because it's just a question of the menu, let's say, okay? And we're not going to use it.
Exactly, completely agree. Perfect. So in our study case, it's a data set that I extracted from Kaggle. Kaggle is an amazing resource to extract data sets. They have competitions with prizes on different subjects. So yeah, if you're curious about data science, it's a very good place to start as well. And they have tutorials and small trainings. Perfect. So with every situation, what we start with, it's importing our Python libraries. So just to give you a little bit of heads up of Python, Python is a really powerful programming tool, that it's free. That's one of the biggest advantage. It is free. You can download it and have it on your computer, so it's perfect. And also, as you can see, you even have already like Google Colab. You already have platforms that they already have it installed. But yeah, that's one of the biggest advantages. It also, as I was telling you, it handles big volumes of data. Because maybe you're going to ask me like, oh, maybe all of this we could have already done it with Excel. But I'm telling you, once you already hit a certain amount of volume, Excel has also its limits and it's going to crack. But with Python, it won't, which is absolutely adorable. Wonderful. And then, as I'm telling you, the first step that we do is that we import libraries. So Python kind of like gets and extracts all the information through these libraries, and so we are able to run different actions and also create visualizations. So there we go. So once we executed this, we will have the libraries that we're going to need. Perfect. And this is our data set. The second step is going to be loading our data set and exploring. Like, let's see what do we have, okay? So here I just uploaded it, perfect. I'm executing the head. So the head, it gives us information of our data set. So here, as we can see, it's a table. We have some different rows. Here, it only displays the first 5, all right, including the header. All right, so here we have listed the different types of variable. We can see, let's see what we have, right? We have the year, we have 2015, all right. We have month, number of weeks. We have some country, the kind of meal, perfect. So we have different information over here from what it looks like a specific hotel, all right? Once we have a general overview, let's
Marta, there is a question on the chat. If you want,
sure.
we can ask it. So, mass libraries can be downloaded as CSV only? No. Libraries are like written in Python extension. So, those libraries are something intrinsic that developers do to facilitate our lives, I would say, and you cannot you cannot create them in CSV file. The CSV files or the CSV extension is linked to the data set that you want to load. So the data points, the information that you want to analyze, let's say. So it's something different. Libraries is something intrinsic in Python. You are using methods, operation, functions, whatever it is in these libraries in order to work and to analyze your data set. So two things are different, okay?
Perfect. Really good question.
Yes.
So everything that we're uploading in CSV, it's the data set. So the data sets, you can do that. And it's one of the most common formats. Perfect. So we have our head. All right, let's dig deeper, right? Let's say like we want to know which years are we dealing with. Perfect. So with this command just right over here, okay, we find out that we have a data set from 2015, 16, and 17. So we have information from these 3 years, right? Okay, and how many hotels do we have? We want to know a little bit about the variables that we're going to use. So with this command, with shape, you can understand the shape of the data set that you have. So yeah, we have like 119K hotels. So it's a pretty big data set. And we have 32 variables. So would you consider that this is a relevant and a big, like good enough data set? These are questions that we need to ask ourselves. Yeah, see some nodding of your heads. Yes, it's a pretty big data set. Obviously, like the ideal is that you have a lot of information that you can extract information from, but it's important, right? That we have a big one so we can extract meaningful conclusions, right?
Another
Awesome.
thing that you should ask also, sorry, Marta, I'm just
Sure.
extra information is like variables is columns, yes. So it's like, okay, I have 100 hotels, but do I have duplicates? Because maybe you have like just the same information duplicated. And I mean, the second question that you must ask to the data or to yourself, let's say, is this information valuable? So is this data set or this shape that I have valuable, so it contains meaningful information? Okay.
Yes, and they're asking if variables and columns are the same, and that would be yes. So we have 32 columns of information. Exactly. So that's a very good point, right? So the columns, these are all the variables that we have, and it says that the object, the type, it's object. Do you know what it means? Like if that a variable is an object?
They are saying no.
Vale, Idoia, if you can explain.
Object, it means category. So it means text in Python language, let's say. So it contains text. And can you scroll a little bit up, Marta, please?
Sure.
Can you see that you have, so the outcome, so index, it tells you hotel is cancelled, blah, 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 and so on. So this is a text. That's why it tells you that this is an object, okay? If on the other way around, we want to have a look at, for instance, the variable column 3 that it's lead time, it will tell you integer or numbers. Okay?
Exactly.
As simple as that.
And actually, if we wanted to know which variable and which column, which type it is, then we can use this formula data info. Data info, it tells us every single one if they're objects, meaning strings, meaning text, or numbers, which you can find as integers, if it's a whole number, or floats if they have a decimal component. So there you go. Here you have like a full description of the different variables that we have over here. And this is the final recount of how many you have of each. All right.
Why can I add something? Why is that so important? Because if you want to calculate a mean or some metrics that are like more linked to statistics, let's say, of course that you cannot do it with any categorical variables, any text variable. No, imagine how can you calculate the mean of a variable that it's gender, that it contains male and female. It's impossible, right? We need numbers to calculate the mean. But on the other hand, we can calculate the mean, for instance, of one variable that it will be total number of nights that this guy or this woman spent in a hotel, right? That's why it's so important to like identify the structure or the type of variables that we have in our data set, okay? There is another question. This is how the information is stored in terms of developers and so on. So it can be 64 or 32 because the information, so the data set that you have, it's transformed in programming language, let's say, in something like 101, blah, 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 blah. And normally this is the notation, okay?
Perfect. And we also somebody have asking in integer 64, what does the number 64 denote?
Yes, that's what I was asking.
Okay. Perfect. All right, and moving on. All right, so now we know the different kind of variables that we have, but do we have any missing data? That's what this helps us to realize. All right, we have country, 488 values. Here in company, we have way more. All right, but something that actually really help us to understand, okay, the missing values, like how much is it in percentage compared to the variables who have not missing values. There's this formula over here that I really like to always apply. This is from Idoia, it's not mine. I borrowed it from her. But it really helps us to understand, all right, the amount, how much it represents. So we have company, it's 94%. I think now it's even clearer of, okay, like here we have a big gap. And also this also helps us to understand if it's worth keeping or not. If company, we have so many missing values, maybe it's not even worth analyzing because it's not going to be representative. All right. So this also gives us an idea. For the sake of this example, we're gonna have no missing values, so it's easier for everybody. Okay, so here what I've done is like clean a little bit the data set so we can work with it. And in this stage, we're gonna drop the missing values. Perfect. So we're gonna double check that we've dropped them correctly. And there we go. We have 0 for everything. So it looks like we're all set. This is a very small version of cleaning your data set. As I was telling you, usually it takes way longer. It's a lot of exploration and it takes a lot of understanding what sort of data do you have and what is it for, what is it does, and understanding the relations and correlations between those variables.
Sorry, Marta, there is a question in the chat. So it's Nelly is asking, is the data type automatically defined when the data set uploaded?
So when you load your data set, it recognizes which sort of data it is. So it gives you their interpretation. But then what you need to do is actually double check that it's true. That when it says that it's an object, basically that it's text, that it's actually text. And it's kind of like one of the wonders of data. It's like, okay, you also need to double check if the category under all the variables fall is actually correct or not.
Always you have to be really suspect about everything.
Yeah,
so be skeptical. Be skeptical.
Like,
Because, for instance, one thing that can happen is that, okay, I'm loading the data and imagine that in that dataset I have information regarding the different guests or the different hosts that they spend some nights in the hotels, but I have information regarding the age because I want to see like the age or the average age of people that are spending or like staying in my hotel. So age is a numerical variable, right? So if you double check, for instance, and you detect that that variable, which should be numerical, in fact, is a categorical variable, so a text variable, that means that there is something wrong in that variable. So that means that you need to go deeper and see what's going on there and try to clean it or correct it, etc. The most common thing is that human mistakes. So when asking the age of that guy, somebody, instead of like saying the age, it like indicates like with a dash or a slash or something like that. With this symbol, Python automatically recognize that variable to be a categorical variable. Okay? So always, first of all, common sense.
Yeah, they say that it's the least common of the senses, but yeah, in that case, it's completely true.
Yes.
And as Ideya was saying, be very suspicious. Like, okay, if this has happened, why is it happening? So it's a lot of research that you need to do, right, to understand what's going on there. Wonderful. Perfect. So now we have our data set that it's all clean and we have no missing values. That's kind of the perfect scenario. So now let's ask some more questions to the data and let's see the different correlations between variables. So, all right, let's explore. How many types of hotels do we have? We know we have 119K. All right, but which sort of type? Perfect. We find out that we have resort hotels and city hotels. Wonderful. And how many hotels do we have in each of these categories? I hope that you're ready because we're going to start with our visualizations, our bar plots, and pie charts. All right. So, all right, these are our numbers. Perfect. But humans were not really prepared to visualize data like this. It's much more helpful to see it graphically, right? Perfect. So let's kick in some bar plots. Okay, so this is how we have it distributed. So it looks like we definitely have more city hotels. Perfect. And another way of representing it is with a pie chart. So here we're using one of the libraries, which is a Camplot, and it's one of the options. We also have Seaborn libraries as well. There we go. We have it here. Perfect. And another type, it would be the plotly.
Sorry, Marta. Which one, the question for you, for all the audience, let's say, which one do you think is like representing the situation or like displaying those numbers in a more visual or powerful way? That one, the one with the bars, or the pie chart? Which one, in your opinion, is the one that it's like more powerful, let's say?
Yeah, let's see how many
bars.
Let's
do like a poll.
Exactly. Let's have a poll. Let's see which one you like the best.
So 2 people answer the pie chart. Some people are still pie chart, pie chart, pie chart. So almost bar chart as well. Yona is giving a good representation. You can see the number. In fact, in pie chart, you can also see the numbers, but with this visualization is not display. So that's really important, that depending on, well, the audience or depending on the information that you have, you can like create multiple plots in multiple ways, but it's your choice to create the most powerful one and the one that really like is like more suitable, let's say, like to meet the audience and to convince the audience, etc. Okay. So there is a kind of 80% bar, 80%, sorry, pie charts and like 20% bar chat.
All right, and I like Nelly's response of like, it depends on the type of data or number
That's
of
true.
variables. That's actually very true. And I'm leaving you an article over here on, which is, well, it's choosing the right data visualization graph depending on which data set that you have. I think that's a very good approach. It really depends sometimes, huh? Yeah, perfect. Okay, so these are the most typical representations that you can make. Also, another library that has Python that it's really interactive, it's Plotly. I'm a big fan of it. And one of the cool things is that, yeah, you can interact with it. So when you put your mouse on top of it, it tells you the percentage and also the number. And you can do really cool graphics with Plotly. And they have this extra component of, exactly, it's a little bit more dynamic. So it's great to have it in your presentations. And when you're working with, you're working directly with Python, you can also download them, which is great. So if you're putting together a presentation, usually there's an icon here, either, yeah, there we go. So download as a PNG, there we go. So you can click over here and it directly downloads it. Perfect. All right, so one question for you is like, okay, we have this amount of hotels that are resorts or that are city hotel. So in your opinion, like, is this data set equally distributed? What do you think it's gonna happen? Like, we have different percentage of information from different hotels. So do you think that it's equally distributed?
66 for city hotels, right? And 33% for the rest hotels, or what was the other category? I don't remember. Rest hotels?
See, resort and city
Resort, yeah.
Yeah, this is something that also it's very important to keep in mind, that maybe the results are, since we have more information for city hotels, are going to be more representative for them than not for a resort, because we don't have a balanced data set. And it's something that you need to keep constantly, like, as I'm telling you, is a lot of exercise of asking questions and realizing what do you have in front of you. Perfect. So let's keep moving. So let's see where our guests come from. So we have a column that it's for country. Okay. So we have this huge list over here. We see in the top 5, we have Portugal, UK, France, Spain, and Germany. Perfect. So we have people from all over. So these are big hotels that they're dealing from people, yeah, from all over the country. So that's going to be very interesting. And imagine that, all right, we're doing a marketing report. We want to understand our customers, right? Maybe we want to even create a customer persona. So let's narrow which are the top 10. Okay, so this is the total of people that we have, the top 10 countries, and the percentage. Wonderful. And then in order to have a bar and pie plot, here we are. Maybe this is a little bit more helpful to understand like the percentage, right? So we have a big community of people coming from Portugal. And maybe it will make more sense if I tell you that this data set, the hotels and well, this information is extracted from a company from Portugal. So apparently they have a lot of inland of local tourism. That's super interesting to know.
Yes, and another thing that, well, in that plot, what Marta is showing you is that you can see like 2 plots in one plot. Okay, so you can see on the left side the bar chart together with the same plot, but shown as a pie chart. Okay, can you see that it's the same information kind of repeated? Exactly. So instead of like showing you in 2 different lines, and what's your opinion? Which one do you think is like the one that it's like more visual, let's say in that case? The bar chart, so the one that it's on the left, or the pie chart? Somebody's answering bar. Well, in that case, bar. Yes, because with pie charts, watch out, because if you have more than 3 categories, so more than 3 different items in your like variables, such as that case, it tends to be like visually not really nice, I would say, because I don't know, it's not really nice, no? So when you are going to analyze one variable, or when you want to analyze one variable in which you have more than 2 categories, such as that case that you have 10 countries, it's more visual or more evident to see or to analyze or to visualize everything in a bar chart. This is super important. So depending on the variables, as somebody was suggesting previously, depending on the variables, you might have to choose which is the best visualization plot or another one. Okay, that's why Marta created these beautiful subplots.
Yeah, wonderful. And it's always helpful to have both to kind of decide, okay, which one you're gonna go with. And again, I just also wanted to show it with Plotly, so you can see exactly like how interactive it is. So also, you know that there's different options, and honestly, this is one of the wonders of Python. It's like creating all these amazing visualizations. So we're going from the most basics to the coolest graphs, obviously. And yeah, another way also to representing this, it would be with a map. So let's check in a map. Here we are, where our guests are coming from. So the lighter is the color, is that the more this is represented in percentage. So the bigger of the percentage. So we definitely see that there's a European interest. So there's a lot of guests that come from Europe, and we can dig in, we can zoom in. Perfect. So here we are. This is our hotspot, right? So we have here like people from Germany, from France, and it always displays the different percentages. And here we have Portugal as well. So there you go. There's another way of representing, and yeah, definitely super cool.
And yeah, can I add something? Can you see that? Well, we didn't add anything else to the data set. So we don't need any kind of location, latitude, longitude, or any extra information. So just with the variable that Marta was showing you, the acronym, so the ISO code with 3 letters, it's possible to like create these beautiful plots because the libraries have this kind of templates, let's say. Okay, so it's wonderful. You don't need the latitude or the longitude or a lot of different things. Okay.
No, not at all. As it is saying, like with only these lines of code, you have this map. How cool is that?
Yes. Marta, there are 2 questions in the chat. So the first one, I can only think how much harder this should be in Excel, right? Yes, I think it's impossible. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not an expert of Excel. I'm really bad at Excel, to be honest. I'm really bad. I don't know how to work with Excel because I'm used to Python. So I don't need Excel just for like maybe creating some like mathematical operations, etc. So I don't know if somebody knows how to create these beautiful maps in Excel. Just
I don't either.
let us know. Let us know. And there is.
That would be cool. And the other one?
Are the lines of codes automatically created when the data set uploaded? I don't understand that question. So which line of codes?
Well, this is all a notebook that we created. So we had to type in all these lines of code in order to create the visualizations. So now, like, just for this session, for you to have a taste of the power of data, it's something that we prepared for you. I wish, like, when you opened, like, you just uploaded the data set, the whole visualizations, it would happen right away. But no, like in this notebook, we created everything. It's true that there are some visualization techniques, so that they actually do this. They do like a pre-visualization. So, for instance, Tableau. If you select Tableau is a visualization tool that it creates different interactive, like maps and anything you can name it. And what you do is that you select different variables, and you can choose that there's an AI engine that it creates visualizations without any, like, you don't have to do it. It creates itself, and then you can modify it and adapt it. So it is possible, but it always is going to need somebody behind it, like with everything in AI, no? There's always need of human supervision to make sure that it makes sense, that the variables compared, they actually, they're the right ones. So it's always going to need somebody to double check, okay, is this correct or no? Does it make sense or no? So maybe you were asking this. I don't know if I responded your question, Nelly.
I already, just for all of you, I've sent you the link of Tableau, which is one of these visualization softwares. It's like, no, it's like you have to pay. So it's like $30 or something like that per month. But the good thing is that they have like a free version, which is public Tableau, in which you can play a little bit with data and, well, try to like create your plots and so on. It's more drag and drop. So you don't have to code. So it's more friendly, I would say, more user-friendly, because you don't have to code everything and you don't have to have any knowledge of Python or any programming language. So feel free to like get this free version, in which the only thing that you can do is like save the different plots in a PNG file, etc. So it's everything like on site, and that's all. Okay, that's because it's free. But I mean, it's free, so.
Yeah, it's a really nice tool. You're gonna still need to do some work of cleaning the data. If you wanna use Tableau and start dragging different variables and see what happens and different visualizations and so on, you still are gonna need to know how to clean the data so it's ready to process. So yeah, again, it's always a combination between coding and human work, and then obviously there's really cool visualization tools that they have these amazing options to create visualizations by itself. All right, awesome. So moving on from this amazing map, let's dig a little bit more into it and extract more information. Okay, so we're gonna find out how much guests pay for room and per night. Just for you to know, like when it shows like a message like this, it's because either the code or the version of your Python is really old, so maybe you need to use another format or so on. But it's very typical to have some messages like this when the version of Python is really old. In that case, from Google Colab, it is. So, but don't worry, it's all working just fine. Just for us to know, all right, here we have the average of how much it costs per night in a resort hotel and in the city hotel per night and per person. All right, for us to know. Wonderful. And now we're gonna create this box plot. Okay, so in our data set, for you to give you a little bit of context, there's different categories of types of rooms. So we have from A to L. And in this box plot, I'm just gonna leave it to you. What this information tell us? Anybody would like to care to venture what this information is telling us? The range of price, exactly. So this is the range of price. This is the distribution of the price. So the longer is this box plot, the more variety of different prices there is for that specific type of room. So like we can see that the one that is most dispersed in terms of resort hotel, which is the orange one, it would be F. And for the city hotel, it would be E. Okay. So the difference of the type of the room, it really depends on like, the kind of room that you have in the sense of like, is it double? Is it a single? In that context and in this data set, we were not giving more information, but how cool would that be I know there's just a lot of people here that is working in hotels, that you understand okay, the difference of prices and which ones are preferred, even for marketing reasons, right? Like maybe you're marketing a sort of room that is not as successful as another kind of room, right? So you can start asking yourself some questions in that sense. Perfect. And also let's find out, how does the price per night vary over the year? It's something, so taking into consideration that here we have 3 different years, 2015, 16, and 17. Okay, so what can we see here? For instance, in the resort hotel, we have a peak in August. Is anybody surprised by that? We have a peak? No, not at all. I see a lot of people nodding. Exactly. It's one of, the peaks, right, of the year. But what about City Hotel? That may be a little bit more different from that. And also it's going to give us some interesting information. We see a peak here in May and another one in August over here. And in September. Okay, so maybe it would be a good idea, since City Hotels is the ones that we have the most information about, it's the ones that we have the most amount of, understanding what's going on in these peaks, right? In May and in September. Are you concentrating your marketing efforts maybe in that period? Maybe not. And wouldn't it be interesting maybe to align, right? To align the different actions and promotions and everything with those peaks? Yeah, as you can see, you can see a lot of useful information that maybe it's gonna affect in the decisions that you usually take at work. So that's what all data science is about. Understanding the behaviors of your users, in this sense with your clients, and planning your actions accordingly. Wonderful. I'm sure that if we had more data sets and we were also having 2020, well, this is something that does not surprise us, it's a behavior that does not surprise us pre-COVID. But maybe now post-COVID, after 2020, maybe the behavior of the consumer is different. Don't you agree? Like maybe it has changed. Maybe we don't have peaks in August anymore. That, I think that would be super interesting. Imagining all your data sets and your hotels, and Idoia and I like just cracking the code and seeing like, okay, so what's happening now after COVID? Now that everything is going back to this new normality, like what does new normality look like? But it's always important, right, to see what we've been dealing before, to compare it with what's happening now. So this data is still very useful. Do not do not desestimate it, because it's a behavior that it was until now happening, and let's see how it's going to look like for the future. Perfect. And how long do people stay at hotels? This is something that we can also, this is another message, don't worry about it. But yeah, this is another information that I'm sure it's going to be helpful. The length of the stay, we have from 1 day in resort hotels, all right, until 14. Okay, why do we have city hotels that the maximum stay, let's say it's 10 nights, and resort hotels it's 14? Anybody care to venture why? Why that can be happening?
Come on, don't be shy. It's your field.
These are travelers. Yes, people more business oriented, marketed demands. Exactly, it's business versus leisure demand. Exactly. So some of them, they're exactly resort hotel. Which kind of hotel is it? It's more leisure. Exactly. It's so people do stay longer. And in city hotels, it's another sort of customer, right? Wonderful. Okay, and last but not least, we also created an interactive map per year and country. This is one of the coolest visualizations that you can do with Python. That basically, it looks like kind of a video. So we have our 3 years, 2015, 16, and 17, and we have the guests, our guests per country. So imagine you want to see the evolution of different kind of guests that you've had during these 3 years. This is really easy to create, as Idoia was saying, just with the country code. That's it. These are the lines of code. This is it. And you have this really cool and amazing plot. And I'm just going to hit play, and you're going to see what happens to the different colors. The colors representing the percentage of guests of counts in this case per country. All right. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's do it. Perfect. So we saw like some lights kind of like twinkling there, and we can even stop where we want to. Like if we want to stop in 16, there we go. Exactly. And we can here see represented people from which countries they're coming, which is amazing.
It's pretty cool because in that case, you are combining 3 variables. So country, the total name, which was the other one, the arrival date, no? Or the year together with the years. And you can see like the evolution over the different years to see maybe, I don't know, if the stage or whatever is like changing.
Yeah, and imagine having already 10 years of different guests. You can see maybe the progression, no? That from the beginnings of the hotel, that they were maybe like only coming from one area, and then how it expanded, and also to detect potential like new markets. Because maybe you've started like from, I don't know, from 2016 until 2020, there's a huge raise on people from the US that they're coming. Who knows? So maybe, again, like it affects some decisions that you can make from where to spend more money in your social media campaigns, for instance, just to give an example. Wonderful. So we're right on time. So this is a little bit of the sample. I hope that it was interactive and dynamic enough. We know that like getting into code, it can be a little bit like, okay, you need to understand what's happening here and there. But we wanted to finish with some resources for you. One of the things, obviously, we're a tech academy. So here we are, like if you want to study with us, something like a small incentive, where we have our early bird discount until the end of the month. And yeah, we would love to have you. We have courses in data science and also in data analytics. It really depends on how deep you want to dig in terms of the subject. And also you have a couple of free beginner's guides for you if you want to dig deeper. Wonderful. All right, so thank you very much. Now we're going to give like 4 minutes for questions, any other doubts, anything that we have missed, and then the rest of the evening for you to enjoy.
No questions?
Let's see. Anybody?
This is just the tip of the iceberg, eh?
Yes. Yes. But we really hope that you've seen that everything that you can do, like it has a lot of potential and a lot of practicality, a lot of things that you can use in your everyday work.
Yes.
How can we sign up for your classes? Oh, love you, Neely, love it. Okay, how can you sign up? Let me give you my email. Well, you already have it. You can just email me and we can set up a call and I can give you all the information. It's also everything on our website. So in allwomen.tech, you're gonna find from our schedule, pricing, everything.
Courses and so on, no? Because it's not the same data science rather than data analytics, etc. Okay.
Exactly. So data analytics, it basically focuses on how to interpret and extract information from data and how to visualize it. And you have a small introduction on machine learning, and that would be kind of the ending. And then the data science, there's a part of data analysis where you work with a lot of statistics, data visualization. plus the machine learning component, which works a lot with probability. And the idea is that you can make predictive analysis. So imagine the data set that we had, and that we could build a model that would understand the data and understand and predict what's going to happen in the future. It sounds like very futuristic, AI-like, but that's possible to do. You can train your model and make it do all this stuff. Well, thank you very much for all your messages. Wonderful. It's been lovely. I don't know if there's any last minute questions. It looks like everybody's...
Hi, Marta. I don't know if I can just talk
Hi.
for 30 seconds.
Sure. Hi, Idoia.
I just want to say thank you for Woman for organizing this, and especially for making a case study that is based in hospitality, which I think most of us felt in some way identified and really inspired. So thank you very much, and to all joiners for your effort, your time, and we are really happy to continue with this partnership and keep learning from each other.
Thank you, Idoia, for your kind words. That was lovely.
Yes.
Awesome. I see that we're finishing with a very good energy. People excited. We're all geeks here. I love it. Like, we're getting excited with data. How cool is that? Well, if you do feel like this, you're going to feel welcome, and you're very welcome to our academy.
And don't be afraid of it, because I am one of the instructors, and well, nobody has, or almost 80% of the students don't have any kind of knowledge in programming. So, and they ended up with good programming skills, good analytical capabilities, and are really good. So don't be afraid of learning something new, such as Python, R, or whatever you feel like, because it's something really nice and everybody can do it. And in fact, in the previous edition, I had one lawyer. Imagine, lawyer people, those people are working with pieces of sheet of papers, and they are not using even the computers, because they write everything and all the sentences and so on. And she managed to do a really powerful job there. So, and right now she's working at Adevinta. You know that company? Because she found one position in data legacy, so dealing with data as a data scientist, but dealing with low things, let's say. Okay, and she found that job, so it's pretty cool. So don't be afraid of learning something new.
Yeah.
If it's in a woman, fantastic, but if it's outside, fantastic as well. So don't be afraid. Everybody can do it.
Yeah, you're bringing a really good point, Idoia, is that everybody that did this course, that, by the way, I'm also an alumna. That's why I was able to give you this introduction. Yeah, I had no idea about coding, and actually come from a humanistical background. I'm a translator, and I also work in education. So yeah, you really don't need to know how to code. Don't worry. We'll go on this journey together. There's going to be days where you want to throw this computer out of the window, but it's fine. It's part of the process. It's a love and hate relationship at the beginning, but eventually it becomes like a love story with coding. Definitely.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. You've been a lovely group. And yeah, any questions, you have my email. I'm going to send you also the discount code. And thanks again for Women in Hospitality Travel Tech. It's been amazing.
Thank you all.
Bye. Have a lovely afternoon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks a lot for organizing. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks for coming.